So I want to talk about, it is a full moon, so I want to go into, what we can release this full moon to cultivate more trust into our life. And I just had a really interesting call with a couple ladies that are in a community that I'm in. And sorry, I'm trying to get my covers right. And we just talked about the fear of overdrafting our accounts and how I don't think I've ever heard that talked about online. And how to combat the fear and not stress out about it, because truly stress isn't going to serve us. Like, stressing about anything, it's not a vibe that's going to help you. And so how can we look at what's causing the fear, which is like, oh, I'm going to go negative. I'm not going to have enough money for this and this and this and this. And how do we shift that to trust? So I'm going to share a story that I just had happen maybe a couple weeks ago. But I have scheduled payments to come out of my bank account, and I had 3 scheduled payments to come out on the 1st, and I didn't have enough money in my account for those. It was 2 days away, and I was just there's just no way. There's no way I'm going to pay this. There's no way it's, I'm going to go negative in my account. And I kind of just kept coming back to, the money's going to be there. It's going to work out. The money is going to be there. It's going to work out perfectly and in my favor. I trust that I don't need to worry about this because it's going to work out fine. And these payments, mind you, are never late. They always come out on the 1st. And for some reason, one of them came out on the 1st, one came out on the 2nd, and then one came out on the 4th. And because of this staggering, I was able to pay all my bills on time. I had money flow in, and I was able to pay the bills on time. And I truly don't think that it would have happened had I not sat with trust. Had I been in a space of oh my God, I'm so stressed out, the money's not going to be there, and focused and given energy to this thought that money's not going to be there, it wouldn't have worked out the way that it did. But my energy in that was contributing to things working out. It was deciding that things are going to work out, and there's just no other way that it can be. And then shit just worked out. So that it was a big moment for me. I'm in this, it's called Money Mentality Makeover course with Amanda Francis. And there's just all these success stories that I kind of compare myself to. And I'm like, oh, well, that didn't happen to me. And so that's kind of my success story, which is a very, I've only been in this course for 5 weeks, but, that's my success story so far. And that's makes me really happy to know that, I was able to step into this space of trust and stop being logical is good, but when we're only logical and we don't make any room for the energetic, we're only practical about things, we don't make space for the energetic, then we're not leaving room for spirit, for God, for the universe to show up for us. It feels really fucking uncomfortable. It feels honestly, when you do a trust fall with someone, it feels like that, but it feels like that perpetually, because it's a few days long trust fall where you're just every time that this stress thought comes into your mind, you remember, oh no, I'm actually not a match for that thought anymore. I actually don't think that thought anymore. I move to trust now. And it's this reprogramming of our minds that we change our outside life. I talk about this all the time, change your mind, change your life, but I will never stop talking about it because it's so damn true. And I've seen it be true in my own life. So I just feel like I need to share that with other people too. People don't talk about money. It's such a taboo thing, especially stress about money. No one talks about that, and it's such a shame-ridden thing. And part of my mission here on this earth is to take the shame out of things that have been shaming people. So that's why I'm going to start talking about it now. And I just think it needs to be talked about more. Like it's something that every single human being on this planet battles, and like, why do we not talk about it? And when we talk about it, we can bring light to it, we can find support in it, and we can like connect with people on this different level. And whenever we feel connected to others, when we feel supported by others, we don't feel alone. And when you don't feel alone, you don't feel like depression and anxiety and fear don't swoon your mind, because you have this connection, whether it's another person, whether it's God, whether it's your ancestors. Like, you have this other connection that you know that you're always going to be supported. And if you're like, you sound insane, what are you talking about? You cannot control your bank account with your mind. Try it. Like, if you're stressing about money, just decide, stress doesn't actually help me. Like, truly, maybe stress does help you. So decide what in that process does not help you. For me, it's that downward. I start stressing about money, and then I start stressing about other things, and then I come into the kitchen and I notice a big mess, and I can't handle the mess because I'm in a stress mode, and then I blow up at my partner, and it's not a good cycle to be in. So I nip it in the bud by saying, I don't stress about money, because when I stress about money, it makes a whole downward spiral of all this other bullshit that isn't true. It's not true at all. This is where human design can come in too. Like, my not self theme is anger. I've talked about anger management on here before, and like road rage. But so I think it's really cool to learn about human design and learn what your not self theme is, so that you can recognize, oh, I'm angry. Like, this isn't myself. I need to do something else. I need to think some other thoughts to come back to this other place, this high vibe place, because where I'm at right now isn't helping me. And I notice this because this is my not self theme. So anytime right now that I'm angry, even if it's just a thought in my head of like an annoyance of a dish, I'm like, something else is going on here. And so a way to cultivate more trust too, I feel like the whole way that we can even cultivate trust outside of ourselves is first by cultivating it in ourselves. You have to trust your own intuition. I'll talk about this more in Heal Your Shit. I think it's week 4 that I talk about trusting your intuition. But one of the exercises I'm going to have people do is stop using GPS. Not for good, obviously. And you know that you have it if you were to get lost. But just sit in the vibe of like, I trust my intuition to get me there, and I'm going to listen to when I hear to turn right, I'm going to turn right. And your intuition can come in different forms. Like, you can hear it, you can just know, you can see it. Like, there's all these different forms. For me, I am clairvoyant and clairaudient. So I will hear it and I just have a deep sense of knowing. So like, I go on these really long mountain drives. I live in Colorado, so I'm close to the mountains, so I just go on long drives and I get lost on different highways, and instead of looking at my maps, I'm just like, what road do I take now? God, angels, universe, ancestors, what road do I take now? Like, how do I get home? Get me home. And it's just a really cool exercise, because you'll be on this road where you're like, I have no idea where I am. This is insane. This is stupid. I'm not going to get home. And then you're like, you know what? I'm just going to push through. I'm just going to trust. And you wind up getting home because you just trusted your intuition. And so, if you haven't tried that, I highly suggest it, because it's just a life-changing practice. You really are like, oh, I can trust myself. And maybe you don't like go on long drives and get lost, but say you're trying to find a new place and you need GPS to get there. Maybe just look up the cross streets and then be like, okay, I know the general vicinity. I am just going to go in the car and trust my intuition to get me there on time, or, get me there in general. And see what happens. Like, just try it. The worst thing that's going to happen is you take a wrong turn and then you need to look up the GPS. And obviously maybe don't do it with like a meeting where you need to be somewhere on time. You could definitely play with that once you start trusting your intuition more, but yeah, when you're first starting, like, don't have a time limit where you have to be somewhere in one place, because that's going to be another thing that's going to stress you out. And when we're in that vibe of stress, nothing good can come of it. That's why the whole COVID thing, like, when we're stressing about something, we can't be in the vibe of gratitude, of happiness, of joy, of being carefree. And those things I just listed, like, that's how we manifest what we want to manifest. Like, we're manifesting all the time. It's not just like, oh, I want to build this company and then that's it. Like, we're manifesting with our thoughts all the time. That's why being aware of our thoughts, like being aware of our not self-themed especially, and then being able to notice in the moment, like, oh, this isn't me being myself. That process of getting to know ourselves it's on the manifesting journey, it's really important, because if you're not aware of your thoughts, then you're going to manifest something that you don't want to manifest. I've manifested people cheating on me because I was in that vibe of, oh my God, they're cheating on me. And I was imagining like how it would be, I guess how I would feel when I was cheated on. And then I ended up manifesting it because I was a match for that. And manifesting works the same way. Like, when we're excited about something, like say you want to start this company and you start with this launch, and you feed the desire more than you feed the fear. So the fear might show up, you give space for the fear, but in your mind you're like, I see the fear, thank you for showing up, thank you for showing me, what I need to look at. I'm going to look at it, I feel it, and now I can release it. And that's all shadow work is. It's looking at your fears and not being like scared of your fears. Like, you don't have to be scared of them, because you know that you can work through them. You trust yourself that you can work through them. So this full moon, this time of release, like, what can you look at and release that doesn't serve you anymore? Where is the place that you want to be? Like, think of 2 years, 5 years down the line. Where do you want to be? And then think of where you are right now. And think of what habit, what thought, what belief do I have that's keeping me back from this person that I want to be? And then it's like a sculptor. You just slowly chip away at these things that are keeping you stuck and holding you back. Yeah, and that's what I want to say on that. And we can bring awareness to these moon cycles, because the moon controls the tides, and it controls water. Like, the moon, the pull of gravity from the moon controls water. But just imagine, if the gravity of the moon is controlling the tides and the water on this planet that is predominantly water, what do you think the moon does to our bodies that are predominantly water? Like, it has very similar effects. Not very similar, because obviously the bodies of water are bigger than the bodies of water within our body. But that thought alone of, oh, there's, the moon is controlling the water. So pay attention to the moon cycles. Pay attention to the full moon being a time of, for me, the full moon heightens whatever I need to release so that I can release it, so that I can pay attention and then decide to release something. So especially right now, like, it's been a full moon. I've been feeling just not 100 for a few days, and so I'm able to look at how I've been feeling and then notice, like, okay, what's causing this feeling, and then how do I release this now? And a full moon release is super easy. You could literally get, like, I like to get flashcards sometimes, or I'll just get like a bay leaf, You write down, I release this, and I am in the space of what I'm releasing, I cultivate this, and you declare it. You can burn it, obviously burn it in a safe space, whether it's outside in a bowl or inside, like in front of a sink or something. And notice what's coming up during the full moon, and then we release it. And then in the weeks of, the 2 weeks after the full moon, while we're waiting on the full moon to get here, it's a time of like, we put our desires out there. We said that we're going to release this thing. And then now we can sit back and receive, knowing that we've done the work. And the work really comes with the new moon. The new moon is a time of planting seeds. It's about visualizing your desires. And if you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't do anything with this new moon, so now the full moon's fucked. No, it doesn't work like that. You can jump in any time in the cycle. Nature is powerful. It's not like, oh, I fucked it up and I messed up. No, you can't fuck anything up in this life. There's just lessons. But with the new moon, that's where the work comes in. That's where the building the dream, building the manifestation, building what you're focused on comes in. You're doing shadow work and limiting beliefs around anything that say that you can't have that. And then when the full moon, I usually feel the effects of the full moon within 3 or 4 days before the full moon. And in that time, I'm just noticing how I'm feeling and not giving myself shit for it. Like I've been, just to give full disclosure, I've been almost feeling like a little bit jealous of people that have been manifesting things that I'm working on manifesting. So with this full moon for me, I'm cultivating, releasing this jealousy and cultivating joy for others, like joy for others that are hitting goals that I also see myself hitting. It's hitting a trigger in me. I just spoke with my coach about this, but who's Brittany Hugenboom. She's Synergy Soul _ on here. Amazing work with her. She's great. But what did she say to me? Oh, she was saying how it's a lack mindset that causes that. You get jealous of people that are doing the things that you want to do because we have this core belief that there's not enough to go around. This whole lack mentality comes back to the overdraft thing, and just knowing that there's enough to go around for everyone, and trusting that. So that's what I'm personally working on with this moon, is just releasing a lack mindset, truly, which is, I feel like, what I work on all the time, but this work kind of never stops. Like there's always going to be some level of duality. There's always going to be some level of contrast, and you can choose that you're going to see contrast with ease and grace, or you can see contrast. My dog is on my paper. Or you can see contrast as this, as my coach would say, luxurious thing, like this thing that gets to be easy and flowy, and it doesn't have to be this like, I'm in a depression hole, I'm in anxiety and I can't claw myself out of here. It can be flowy. Like you can have a contrast that's flowy. You just have to be aware of your thoughts, be kind to yourself when you're thinking those thoughts, and then move through them. It's not, oh my God, I feel jealous. Why do I feel so jealous? Like I should just be happy for these people, and oh my God, I just suck because I feel like this. No, you don't. Talking to yourself that way does not help anyone. It doesn't do you any good. And then it also cultivates a space when we're bullying ourselves. It cultivates a space where we're okay with bullying other people because we're talking to ourselves like that. I see it all the time on the internet when people are just rude. Like no one is rude on the internet unless they're rude to themselves. And one of my missions in life is to raise the vibe of the planet. And if there's more people aware of their thoughts and they're aware that they're being an asshole to themselves, then they'll be aware that they're being an asshole to someone else. And the less bullies that we have on this planet, the higher the vibration is going to be. So, if you take nothing out of this, just take that the way that you talk to yourself is the way that you're going to talk to other people. So especially notice, like, if you're getting harsh with a family member, or you're getting harsh with someone in traffic, just notice it and be like, oh, is this how I want to behave right now? No, okay, I'm going to choose to behave a different way. I'm going to choose to show this person compassion. I'm going to choose to show myself compassion. I'm going to choose to not make this hard on myself and to not be rude to myself. I'm going to choose to give myself grace and move through this with grace. And when we move through things with grace, we can also move through those scary situations like an overdraft situation. We can move through that with grace and trust too, because we're cultivating it. When we cultivate trust in every single area of our life, then we become more trusting, we become more receptive to our blessings, we become more receptive to abundance. Versus if you're always thinking in the lack mindset, which we're human, we're going to go to lack mindset, but just being aware that we're in the lack is the medicine. That's like what can bring us out of it. So I think that's really what I wanted to come on and say. Let me see. Hi, yes to your soul. Okay, no questions. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. So, the moon, I don't know exactly when it goes full. It doesn't look all the way full right now, but maybe it'll be full in like a day. I haven't looked. But observe how you've been feeling over the last few days. Observe where you might have a lack mindset, and observe where you can swap that lack mindset for an abundance mindset. And remember to see the light and be the light. Thanks so much.